everybody! This is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert, a NASCAR podcast. It's only 48 days until the most wonderful time of the year before cars and trucks hit the asphalt in Daytona. We trudge on through the 7th week of the NASCAR offseason. Still plenty of news and updates to keep us going. Yellow flag, green flag from each series throughout this past season. Discussions with Dave, paint scheme of the week, NASCAR History Time, interview with driver Jake Finch, and so much more on this holiday episode of Splash of Gas. Before I forget, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. The holiday time is always a great time to plan a trip with Dave. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Now for trivia question time. This week's question is, what driver had the most consistent races without a DNF at the Cup Series level? Name that driver. Answer coming at the end. Now for yellow flag, green flag, a season look back for each series. Yellow flag, truck series. We saw this split happen more than midway through the season when Caden Honeycutt was released from Nice Motorsports after Honeycutt told them for 2026 he would be going to a different manufacturer. We know that now is Toyota. At that point of the season, Honeycutt, even though he didn't get a win in 2025, he positioned himself right in the playoffs. After the split, we see Honeycutt move one race with Young's Motorsports. Then the rest of the season, he fills Stuart Friesen's seat in the 52. And as we know, Honeycutt makes the championship 4. Corey Heim comes away with the championship, as we know. But nonetheless, Honeycutt, a very difficult season and position he got pushed into by Nice Motorsports, comes out with a championship 4 appearance. Yellow flag to Nice Motorsports. When this occurred, Dale Jr. was talking about it as too, how surprised he was. I understand the points and where they were technically coming from, but it is still such a head scratcher for them to do that. Why would you kick away a chance at a championship 4 appearance? And at a championship, who cares if the driver isn't going to be back next season? You have a chance at a championship in NASCAR. Why would you give that away? It's still, obviously, Cody Efa and everyone in Nice Motorsports, maybe Honeycutt doesn't make the championship 4 if Nice doesn't let him go. We'll never know that. Nonetheless, I still believe that Nice dropped the ball on this one. Green flag, truck series. Gotta give it to Corey Heim. Set the series all-time win record in one season, breaking, nonetheless, Greg Biffle's record. From Daytona to Phoenix, the best truck was the 11 truck. Everyone knew that. Besides mechanical issues or getting rear-ended out of the race was really the only way Heim wasn't going to win. Have to give him his roses that are well overdue. Green flag, trucks, 2025, Corey Heim. Yellow flag, Xfinity. Have 2 drivers in this one. First one, I know his teammate, Jesse Love, goes on to win the championship. Yellow flag to Austin Hill. I understand that split second decision to hook Amarola at Indy ultimately pretty much cost him a chance at the championship 4. We talked about it months ago that if Hill is in the championship 4, probably pushes his teammate Jesse Love out of that playoff 4, and Love doesn't have a chance and probably will go to one of the JRM drivers. I totally understand that sometimes when you put your helmet on and you're racing, things can happen and you can boil over, and that can be seen on track. A veteran like Austin Hill, to do it to a veteran like Eric Almirola, I was not expecting that. Second driver we'll talk about is more of an off-season Xfinity yellow flag. Nick Sanchez, recently being released from Big Machine Racing in the 48, was a total shock to me. Did not see that coming at all. Sanchez, as we know, won the Xfinity race in Atlanta in a nail-biter. Really saw his career kind of taking one step after another. Was excited to see what Nick could do in his second full-time Xfinity season, but that is not going to happen now. More on Sanchez's replacement in the 48 on discussions with Dave, and where will Sanchez go next year? We'll talk about that more. Green flag Xfinity, gotta go with the flow. He didn't win this championship. He had the most wins. We know who we're talking about, Connor Zilisch. And that performance he put on in the 88 car in the Xfinity Series, he's getting the boost to the Cup Series, as we know, with Trackhouse. Really excited what this youngster can do in a full Cup season. He has a lot to learn, as we know. As we've seen from Connor in past series, ARCA, Xfinity, Trucks, couple spot starts, he catches on real quick. Excited how he fits in the mix of Cup drivers. Yellow flag, Cup Series. RFK, Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. They did not have a win at all in 2025. That was one thing I was not expecting. In all honesty, I wouldn't have been surprised if all three of their drivers, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece, Chris Buescher, would all get wins. In 2023, 2024, I understand Keselowski went on a little bit of a win drought, but he nabs a win last year. We see Buescher collect multiple wins in past seasons. From what they had been building, wasn't expecting them to go winless at all. I'm sure 2026 will change that for them. Green flag, Cup Series, Joe Gibbs Racing. Yes, they did not win the championship. Kyle Larson goes on to win, as we know. Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs driver in the 11. Most wins in 2025 at the Cup Series level. At the beginning of the year, we saw Christopher Bell go on a tear, winning 3 races in a row. Chase Briscoe in the 19, who is in his first year at Joe Gibbs Racing, replacing Martin Truex Jr. Briscoe goes on to win Pocono, the Southern 500, and at Talladega, getting him into the Championship 4, which was Briscoe's first Champ 4 appearance at the Cup Series level. Took Chase a little bit to come into his own. As we know, he gets that first win at the end of June in Pocono. Last year, Chase Briscoe led Cup Series drivers with the lowest finish at the 4 Crown Jewel races last year. Still need to mention Ty Gibbs, who was winless in 2025 and is still yet to get his first win at the Cup Series level. He had improvements last year, didn't have the best of luck at times. We did see him lead laps at points throughout last year. With how well his 3 other teammates performed last year, believe that will help Ty get into victory lane in 2026. Now for discussions with Dave, part 1. More on the slopes, accidents for Cup Series driver. We were talking, believe it was 2 or 3 seasons ago. This was in season, the beginning of the season, when Chase Elliott broke his leg snowboarding. Last week, Brad Keselowski broke his leg while skiing with his family. I do not know the exact mountain they were on, but there was Brad on his social media, pictures of his surgery. He did have to have surgery on the leg. I don't know to how many rods or screws, exactly what was done, but he still nonetheless had surgery on his broken leg. There was a video of him already walking post-surgery, and Brad said he will be there for Daytona. it does not look like that Keselowski will be there for the Clash, which is the exhibition race 2 weeks prior to Daytona. That is on a short track, and shifting in the short track with a broken leg is probably not ideal if you're trying to prepare for the Daytona 500. So who would replace Keselowski at the Cup Series level? Last time we saw Keselowski have to sit out a race, or I should say an RFK driver to sit out a race. Zane Smith filled that seat. I believe that was Gateway 4 years ago, before Zane made the jump into the Cup Series. But if Keselowski can't go for the Clash, who's going to replace him? Lane Riggs, definitely viable option in the Ford camp, as we know. I say Sheldon Creed next, but with Stewart-Haas switching from Ford to Chevy in 2026, I don't know where that kind of puts them in standings with RFK. But between the experience of Sheldon Creed and Lane Riggs would be viable options for to replace Keselowski if he can't go for the Clash, which that's what it sounds like. Best of luck for Brad in his recovery. Hope we see him back in the 6 sooner than later. More silly season news, this time on the ARCA side. We saw Nitro Motorsports really take the next step last year and saw their 70 go to victory lane multiple times, and they are quick, to say the least. Additionally, with Nitro purchasing Venturini Motorsports, which we know was a powerhouse in the sport for an extended period of time, for 2026, Nitro Motorsports is going to have some quick cars, and they should be competing for wins right up against those pinnacle cars as well. Was announced during this past week that they will be signing none other than Thomas Annunziata from New Jersey full-time. We saw Thomas make Xfinity starts, ARCA starts last season, with Annunziata running full-time, and with no one right now scheduled from Pinnacle Racing to run the full ARCA Menards national schedule. Annunziata is a front runner right now to win the 2026 ARCA Championship. How will that play out? Moving right along in discussions with Dave, more silly season news. We've been talking about this topic on Yellow Flag, Green Flag last week as well. As we know, Big Machine Racing, shocking news that they're releasing Nick Sanchez, was announced a couple days ago. Patrick Starpoli to Big Machine Racing in the 48 in 2026 on the O'Reilly Auto Parts Tour, full season. A third-generation driver from Plantation, Florida, Starpoli came onto the national scene in 2013, winning the Peak Stock Car Dream Challenge. That victory earned him a development role with Michael Waltrip Racing, where he in a loaded field included runner-up Chase Briscoe. Starpoli, a Harvard graduate, continued his rise in 2024 by securing a seat with Bill McAnally Racing on the ARCA West Series, and quickly established himself as a consistent frontrunner in that series. Starpoli off the track is Dr. Starpoli. He's a board-certified medical retina surgeon specialist. His work in retinal detachment repair, vascular disease, and resident education has been widely published. Starpoli completed both his residency and surgery fellowship at the renowned Bascom Palmer Eye Institute, consistently ranked as the top eye hospital in the U.S. Starpoli has one heck of a resume, not just in NASCAR and racing, but off the track, as we just went over, how high ranked and high thought upon as an eye surgeon he is. Really cool to see a doctor race in the sport. Last year, we saw Starpoli make starts, Xfinity, ARCA, mainly with Toyota-backed teams with Venturini, Joe Gibbs Racing. As I mentioned, I was surprised with Sanchez leaving Big Machine Racing. I was almost maybe even more surprised that Starpoli was named as his replacement full-time in 2026. This does then kind of pull us to the business side of things. Starpoli does have a big backing from various healthcare companies. I don't know the specifics. When this was released, he was pictured with a O'Reilly Auto Parts fire suit that had some sort of medicine brand on the front. That is not my forte by any means. Forgive me for that. Nonetheless, Starpoli does bring some financial backing, as we know. Probably does put Big Machine Racing with the money he's bringing in. And he is a veteran driver. Might have not been consistent, but he has been racing on the big national series. Last year, we saw Sanchez push that 48 car to the front, winning multiple poles, getting the win in Atlanta. And I do think Nick is going to be an up-and-coming driver, and this wasn't the last hurrah for him by any means. Sanchez's statement when he was released, one door closes, another one opens. Sometimes it's business. So Nick does see that side, and I kind of 100% believe it was a business situation. Starpoli has that money, and not a knock on Sanchez at all, but Starpoli is more of a veteran driver, more patience behind that wheel with a one-car team. Can that get Starpoli and the 48 to the front of the O'Reilly Auto Parts field in 2026? We'll wait to find out. Next topic, and pretty much on the same wavelength, where does Nick Sanchez go for 2026? For the most part, all the seats in the Xfinity, now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Tour, are for the most part filled up. Been stressing on the win and the poles that Sanchez had last season. We've seen Xfinity drivers with multiple wins recently, Ryan Truex, not even get a sniff the following season. I don't think that is going to happen for Sanchez. Realistically, for 2026, I think we see him full-time in the Truck Series. I do believe he gets that final Colleague Racing Dodge Ram seat. Believe for both parties it would be beneficial. And also, that would give Colleague, their Truck Series roster would be stacked. Justin Haley, Brendan Butterbean Queen, last year's ARCA champ, Daniel Dye, put Sanchez in that mix. Believe more than one of those guys is going to get into the Champ 4. Still, nonetheless, we'll be keeping our ear to the ground to see what Sanchez's plans will be for 2026. That wraps up Discussions with Dave, Part 1. Now, for our interview with driver Jake Finch. Here's what Jake had to say.
Driver, we bring on Splash of Gas, just wrapped up 2025 with a strong top 5 finish at the Snowball Derby. Jake Finch, thanks for joining the show again, Jake.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Before we get into the snowball action, last spoke to you before the start of the season at New Smyrna. Between the various late model series, you ran 29 races last year, collecting 19 top 10s and winning the Spring Explosion at Montgomery. It was a long year. Was there anything specific that you felt like you and your team improved on the late model side throughout the year?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think we kind of in the pro late we had a really good season overall. I think we had 4 or 5 wins or something like that, and quite a few poles in the championship over there at Pensacola. But in the Super, I felt like we kind of struggled to start off the year. It was kind of frustrating. I felt like New Smyrna didn't really go how we wanted it to, and then neither did some of the other races. But I feel like we continue to progress throughout the year and get better. And I think that kind of shows at the Derby. I think we ended on a good note, and super excited for 2026, and think that we got a good shot to get a few wins next year. And we had a few poles at the Super this year, and we ran good. So hopefully we can continue that progression.
Awesome. Appreciate the honesty with that. Jumping into the recent action from the Snowball Derby a few weeks ago, a lot of waiting with the rain. There was the one practice session, and then you put down a quick qualifying lap, locking yourself into the Derby, qualifying 4th. How was the 51 handling before the race? It seemed pretty fast from the time you all unloaded.
Yeah, to be honest, the first practice we had was that hour-long session on, I forget what day it was. We were there so long. But we were pretty bad, to be honest with you. I think we were like 36th on the charts, something like that. But we weren't. I didn't feel like the handling was super bad. I just felt like we were struggling on our mock runs, on those qualifying runs, and our pro car was really good. So we took some information from that with the Ronnie Sanders guys and just took a bunch of information that we accumulated throughout the year, running at Pensacola and some of those other events, and we made a big change throughout practice into qualifying, and I think we made a really good change, obviously. And I know I was like the last car to go out, and our first lap I was a little nervous because the tires didn't come in really good. I think we were like 32nd on the charts or something like that, and Tyler Mullen told me down the backstretch that I had to figure it out here if we're going to make the race, and just put down a really good lap. I felt like I wasn't as aggressive as I should have been. I was trying to make sure that we got it in the race, and luckily put it fourth. So I was really happy with that. And in the race we had a good handling race car as well, and got behind strategy a little bit, and I wish we had a few more laps, and made a wrong adjustment. Kind of got stuck in between a few things, and but nonetheless, I think we had a winning race car. I would say top 3 race car until the night. I don't think we had anything for the 91, but everybody else, I feel like we were right in the same ballpark. But yeah, it was a good run.
Got it. No, appreciate the honesty going over qualifying. As you just mentioned, I mean, long 300 laps, and late in the race, there was the restarts. The one gets waved off, and then the last one, 11 to go. You come out with a P5 finish. How were you feeling in the final laps there? You mentioned that the car was handling well.
Yeah, it was good. I think the run before that, we had a little stagger problem. We got really closed up on stagger and got really tight, and obviously that kind of hurt our information for the next run a little bit. And I think we just went a little bit too much on our adjustment and got too tight for the short run. So I really wish we probably would have just stayed how we were when we first started the race. A little bit of that was my input as well, and trying to keep up with the track and just missed a little bit, and that happens, right? But I think our car was really good. I just think we needed a little bit more turn for the short run. I wish we could obviously Monday quarterback it and make it a little bit better. But I don't think there's any reason to be mad with a 5th place finish at the Snowball. It's probably the biggest race in the country for that series, and a lot of big names, obviously. So 5th was good, but definitely strive for more.
Got it. Appreciate all that insight. Seems like a lot to build on for next year for sure. Last question on Snowball this year. You mentioned all the rain. I mean, it just was a lot of waiting. What did you do to pass all the time there?
Hung out with a lot of my friends. Pensacola is like an hour and a half from my house, 2 hours from my house in Panama City. So hung out with a bunch of my high school friends that go to college over there, and a bunch of my friends that I race with, like TJ and Luke Baldwin and Gavin Bichelle, and just we kind of hung out, played college football. We went and played basketball one day at the YMCA, just trying to stay active, definitely, and watched a lot of film, watched a lot of in-cars and stuff like that. Just try to keep my mind on the goal, and luckily got to watch Georgia beat Alabama on Saturday, so that was good. But yeah, nonetheless, just tried to keep my mind straight and a little loose, and felt like it was good race.
Got it. No, glad you had your friends there to pass the time for sure. Switching to the ARCA side of things, between ARCA East, West, and ARCA, you ran 9 races last year, collecting 6 top 10s. Not a win like you had in 2024, but what can you build from the 2025 ARCA season?
Yeah, I don't know. Just try to be better, put yourself in positions to win, right? And I think you gotta run top 5 and be there at the end of those races to bang races off. And I think the super speedway, we run really good, but just had some miscues, really. I mean, we were running like second at Daytona and got tagged from behind and wrecked with like 4 to go or something like that, and probably should have won that race. For my second Daytona win, should have had the first one. And then Talladega, we were running really good and had that pit road penalty that put us to the back, and then had to work from there, and felt like we had a good car, and then the caution came out right off that green white checkered. So I made a few mistakes, like my mistake at Rockingham, and I just think we need to clean a few of those up, and I think we'll be all right. I think continue to bring good race cars to the track, and you'll win some doing that.
Got it. Thank you for the honesty on that. You've been with Venturini Motorsports for a number of years on the ARCA side, collecting your first win at Dega with them last year. They're stepping back from racing as Venturini transitions into Nitro Motorsports, driven by Venturini legacy. What was it like working with everyone at Venturini?
Yeah, it was great. Learned a lot there, gained a lot of experience and good relationships that I'll continue to carry. And obviously nothing but a good experience. Just hope to continue that relationship with those people. And yeah, it was good.
Awesome. Yeah, they have a strong passion for racing for sure. In Dover in July, you make your only Xfinity start of 2025, driving the 17 for Hendrick. No, the race was shortened by the rain. That was my first time at Dover as a fan. I never realized how banked that track was. Seems like you guys are really hauling the mail there. I mean, how is it to be in the Xfinity car at Dover?
Yeah, that was the most fun I've ever had driving a race car. That was probably my favorite race that I've ran. Super unfortunate that I didn't get my 68 laps or whatever it was still remaining, but nonetheless, I can't, thank Mr. H and Miss H and everybody at Hendrick Cars for, giving me the opportunity to run that race. And just wish we would have got some more laps. And, I learned a lot that day. My pit road mistake was definitely not good. But, learned a lot. Felt like we were a top 10 car, finished like 17th or something like that. But had top 10 pace all day, really. Just had to fart our way through the field and ran out of time. But felt like we had obviously a super good race car. Just hopefully I can, get back in the Xfinity Series and see what we can do.
Got it. Appreciate you touching upon that. I'd like to ask this question when guys are in different series throughout the years. Any difference from like the ARCA car or to the Xfinity car?
Yeah, there's a big difference. Power's a big difference. Downforce. How the other guys race and just the situations you get put in compared, from the different series. But there's quite a big difference for sure.
Got it. Thank you for that insight. You come from a racing family. We know the resume your dad has. You started your own path in the sport. What's it like to continue that legacy?
Yeah, it's good. I love to keep our name in the sport and continue to build off of what's already been created, right? But my dad loves it, obviously, and it's good to share that with him. And but at the end of the day, just try to build my own legacy and build my own name for sure. But I still like to respect and obviously keep that name going so people don't forget.
Hey, gotcha. Appreciate that. And last question. No, all the details for 2026 are still being ironed out. But what are your goals for next year as a driver?
Yeah, just, win as many races as possible, right? That's always the goal in anything competitive for me. And just show up and continue to get better. I think I can continue to prove in many different areas and definitely want to, at the start of the season, be better than I was at the end of this season, and then at the end of the season in 26, be better than I was at the start, right? Just continue to strive for greatness and try to be the best version of myself I can be. And if I just go out there and give 100% every race, then I'd be happy with it.
Awesome. Seems like you're really in a good spot. Excited to see what 2026 will bring for you. Thank you again for your time, Jake. Hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you in 2026.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good one.
Yep.
Appreciate Jake's time along with all of his insight. Moving right along to Paint Scheme of the Week. Throwing it back to the Coors Light Silver 40 of Sterling Marlin. Silver car with the orange 40 white trim around the number and the white Coors Light mountains on the hood on the side. It was slick. A great pairing with a veteran driver in Marlin. Now we go to NASCAR History Time, throwing it back to the early days of Daytona. The story of Daytona International Speedway traces all the way back to 1953, when Bill France Sr. recognized that racing on the sands of the ever-growing Daytona Beach was nearing its end. Determined to secure the future of racing in Daytona, France unveiled his vision on April 4th, 1953, proposing the construction of a permanent racing facility. That vision took a major step forward on August 16th of the following year, when France signed an agreement with the city of Daytona and Volusia County to build what would be known as Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing. Construction began in 1957 with land clearing underway. It was an ambitious construction effort. In 1959, racing officially moved from the beach road course to the new Daytona International Speedway, marking a new era in motorsports. The inaugural Daytona 500 was held on February 22nd before a crowd of more than 41,000 fans. The field featured a mix of hardtops and convertibles, making it the only Daytona 500 to include convertibles. Cool fact. The finish was one for the ages. Johnny Beauchamp initially celebrated in victory lane, but after 61 hours of review, newsreel footage revealed that Lee Petty had indeed edged Beauchamp out at the line by roughly 2 feet, earning Lee Petty the official victory and one of the closest Daytona 500 finishes in history. Now for Discussions with Dave, Part 2. Was announced this past week, Hettinger Racing will field a full-time NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series entry in 2026 for the first time in program history, the team announced. Owned by longtime late model competitor Chris Hettinger, the team will enter as the number 5 Ford Mustang beginning at Daytona in 2026. The team will have support from Ford Racing, while Roush Yates will supply the team's engine. This announcement comes after Haas Factory and RSS Racing, previously 2 of Ford's flagship teams in the series, will be switching to Chevy. Sounds like there was some money left over on the table from Ford. We've seen Hettinger compete long time on the late model side of things. I've seen their cars race at the South Carolina 400 on multiple occasions. By no means expecting this, but seems like a good pairing. They'll be running Fords. Has not been announced who their driver is going to be or combination of drivers. We'll figure that out. Really interested and can't wait to see how this long-time late model team bodes on the national stage. Preview for the Chili Bowl Nationals quickly. Chili Bowl Nationals are scheduled to take place from January 12th to the 17th. Some big names announced: Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, each with dirt racing backgrounds. We know they're both on the Cup Series side and have Larson's fresh off the win and Bell has multiple wins last year. That will again take place at the SAG Net Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Can't wait for those cars to hit the dirt. Last but not least, on Discussions with Dave, Team Penske will be celebrating their 60th anniversary in 2026. This major milestone, celebrating 60 years of excellence, innovation, and success across global motorsports, Penske will be celebrating. What started back in 1966 as a modest sports car operation has grown into one of the most dominant and well-respected organizations in racing history, with victories and championships spanning open-wheeled stock car and sports car competition, which has elevated Penske to top of the sport. Team Penske plans to celebrate the anniversary throughout the year with special programs, fan-focused initiatives, and storytelling that highlights the team's rich legacy. Excited for that to be highlighted in 2026. And that wraps up this episode's edition of Discussions with Dave. Brings us to the end of this episode. Now for trivia question time. This week's question is: what driver has the most consecutive races at the Cup Series level without a DNF? Answer is none other than Greg Biffle with 89 continuous finishes from the Daytona 500 in 2012 to Kentucky in June of 2014. What a record for the Biff. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He'll be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. The holiday time is a great time to book a trip with Dave. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year with their friends and family. Till next time, Splash of Gas out.